Okay, today's lesson is on solving proportions. The objective is to solve and apply proportions, and I'm using standard A.RAI.3, which is to solve linear equations and inequalities in one variable, including equations with coefficients represented by letters. So let's just jump into this. What is a proportion? Well, from the past, you've probably already learned this, but a proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. Remember, a ratio is nothing more than a comparison of two numbers by division. So we've got 7 divided by 8 is equal to m divided by 12. So we know that these two things have to be equal, so we want to find the value of m that makes this true. Well, when they're set equal to each other, we know that we can just cross multiply and divide. So I'm going to multiply the 7 by 12, and I'm going to multiply m by 8. Those are cross products. So what is 7 times 12? That would be, what, 84, I'm thinking? And then m times 8 is just 8m. So I divide both sides by 8. And that will give me my value for m. And of course, 84 divided by 8 is 10.5, or 10 1/2. So kind of an ugly problem because we don't typically write things as 7 over 8 is equal to 10.5. Like that would be a fraction over a fraction, but that's okay. That is the answer. Those are equivalent values. So let's look at a proof as to why cross products would work. In the past, I've told you to get the letter on top by itself, that we would multiply by what's in the denominator. So let's say I'm wanting to get A by itself. I want to multiply by B to get rid of that. Okay, and so to get D out of the denominator over here, I want to times by D. Well, if I times this side over here, let me change the color so this makes more sense. If I times this side by B, then I've also got to times by B over here. And if I times this side by D, then I've got to times by D on this side of the equal sign. So what ends up happening is on this side, my B's cancel out. On this side over here, my D's cancel out. I don't really like to say cancel because they don't cancel, but D over D is 1. 1 times anything is just that anything. So I'm left with CB over here, and I'm left with DA over here, which we like to write things in alphabetical order. So this is AD equals CB. Notice that's exactly what I would have got at the very beginning when I started with A over B equals C over D, if I would have just done the cross products. AB equals BC, these cross products. So that's just a little proof as to why cross products work. So what is the solution of the proportion? You can pause the video and try this. Cross products, 4 times x is 4x, 3 times a is 24. Divide both sides by 4, and x is equal to 6. 4 over 3 is equal to 8 over 6. And we can tell that that's true because if I double 4, I get 8. If I double 3, I would get 6. So that makes sense. Okay, so those were basic examples that you've probably looked at in the past. Now we're going to up the ante a little and look at a little bit more involved problem. I don't like to say harder because I don't feel like it is harder. But remember how we talked about this fraction bar acts as grouping symbols. So when I see multiple things on top, multiple terms above the division sign, I like to right off the bat just go ahead and put them in parentheses. Because then when I start doing the cross products, it makes it easier to see that I'm going to have to distribute. So I'm going to do the 5 times the group of B plus 3. That would be this cross product. Is equal to 4 times B, the group of B minus 8. So now, written like that, it's easy to understand that we distribute. Now let's go ahead and do the distributing. 5 times B is 5B. 5 times 3 is a positive 15. 4 times a positive b is positive 4b, and 4 times a negative 8 is a negative 32. So now we can move things to the correct side, move the b, 4b across, change it to a negative to get rid of it. I've got negative 32 staying there, but this 15 is going to move over, so I'm going to change it to a minus 15. So I've got b, that's nice, I'm not going to have to divide, equals double negatives. When I'm adding negatives, I just same sign, I'm going to add and keep the sign. So 3 and 1 make 4, 2 and 5 make 7. So b is equal to negative 47. We can plug that back in and check and get our answer. So let's try this one. Go ahead and pause the video and give this a try. Okay, and here it is worked out for you. 5 times the quantity 2n plus 4, because I'm timesing it by everything that's up there. Timesing that 5 by everything, not just the 2n. So I had to put it in parentheses. So then I get 10n plus 20 when I distribute. 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 4 is 20. Then I'm going to combine my like terms. 10n, subtract the 6n. I moved the 6n over to this side over here and changed it to a negative, because to get rid of 6n I would subtract it from both sides. And then I took this positive 20 and moved it over to this side. To get rid of a positive 20 I would subtract it, so it became a negative. And then I simplified. 10n minus 6n gave me 4n. 4n is equal to 20, so I divide both sides by 4, and n is equal to 5. Okay, so this says a portable media player has 2 gigabytes of storage and can hold about 500 songs. A similar but larger media player has 80 gigabytes of storage. About how many songs can the larger media player hold? Well, we can tell right off the bat this is going to be a proportion problem, because we're comparing two things. So if it's 2 gigabytes, and I've always got to line it up. We talked about this yesterday. I don't know how to simplify gigabytes, but we'll just abbreviate it that way. 2 gigabytes of storage can hold 500 songs. So what I want to know is an 80 gigabyte storage thing can hold what number of songs? I wouldn't want to put x over 80 on this side, because over here I've got the 2 gigabytes on top, the 500 songs on the bottom, and I'm saying they're equal. So songs are equal to songs, the number of songs. The number of gigabytes needs to correspond with the number of gigabytes. So now we can cross multiply and divide. 2 times x gives me 2x. 80 times 500 would give me 40, and then my other 3 zeros, so 40,000. So if I divide both sides by 2, x is equal to 20,000 songs. That is awesome. I would love to have that. That'd be great for when I was running. I'd never have to listen to the same song twice. So a larger media player that has 80 gigabytes would hold 20,000 songs. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can try this one. The orange juice problem. I'll read it to you. It says an 8-ounce can of orange juice contains about 97 milligrams of vitamin C. About how many milligrams of vitamin C are there in a 12-ounce can of orange juice? So we're just going to set this up the same way we did the previous problem. Go ahead and pause the video and try. Okay, so 8 ounces contains 97 milligrams. So how many milligrams would there be in a 12-ounce can? Since I put 8 ounces on the top over here, I'm going to put 12 ounces on the top over here. So I want to know how many milligrams of vitamin C are in there. So I'm going to cross multiply and divide. 8x equals 97 times 12. Let's see here. 97 times 12 is 1,164. Then to get x by itself, I want to divide both sides by 8. It's being multiplied by x. I want to undo that multiplication So I'm using the division property of equality and dividing both sides by 8. And I get X is equal to 145.5 milligrams of vitamin C. I want to include my unit of measure in my answer. So there's about 145.5 milligrams of vitamin C in the 12-ounce can. Okay, that is it for today. Make sure to do your homework problems that are assigned to you in class.